What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, where were we? Yo, it's been a long time since I've been across this medium to you folks in this way. I think July 23rd of 2021, my last show in season 1. Welcome to season 2 of the OHalloRANT. That's right. I've been asked to come back. I've been wanting to come back. I know a lot of y'all reached out over the past couple of years, past couple of months, in person at the conventions since I've been on the road a lot the past year and a half or so since Clerks 3 came out. That's where I left you. That's where I left you with the last broadcast. So as I was gearing up for filming of Clerks 3. And so here we are. It's 2024. 5th of January. Happy New Year to everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you do. Wow, lots happened since the past couple of years. I've since moved to a different house since we last recorded. I've also met tons of people. We did a film, Clerks 3. Got to do a lot of cool things over that period. Got to tour with Kevin for a couple of the cities for the Clerks 3 roadshow tour. Got to meet a lot of you good folks in person, which was awesome. Got to travel quite a bit to quite a few cities on the Fan Expo Comic-Con tour, a lot of the other independent Comic-Cons as well, the Galaxy Cons as well. Got to see a lot of people. Got to finally bring out the one, the only Jeff Anderson on the road, along with Trevor Furman. We got Marilyn Gigliotti at times, Scott Schiaffo on the road at times, and of course Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin and Jay himself. We got new people on the road with us as well. We got the wonderful Jason Lee and Ethan Sup Lee to fill out some of those corners, and of course Joey Lauren Adams at some of the events. So it's been a lot of fun the past few years, and I'm not going to say that I missed this, because I did miss it doing this. Just the scheduling a lot of the times was just not there, but I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad to be back with you guys, and so many people I'm seeing. Christopher Hewitt, I think he's never missed any of my shows. I'm so glad to be back. Mad Brothers Media, good to see you guys again. Scott Hoverman, there you go. 3 Alarm Comics in his house. Tons of Pippi, Wookieanthal, Blood God 1979, Aiden Griffith, and Winning Rock, J Dark, Alan Legros up in Canada, Daniel Buckley in the Central Jersey. Yes, the rant is back. Glenn Ferraro, we had an episode with him, the artist who did that wonderful art piece of myself. It's good to be seen. Matt Stally, good to see you as well. So here we are, 2024. We're starting it off good. Tonight, I have an amazing guest tonight. We have the one, the only Darren McCarty. That's right, Darren McCarty, NHL, 4-time NHL champion, Detroit Red Wing icon. We also have the one, the only writer, publisher, owner of Mess Bucket Comics, Dominic Riggio. He's coming to us from a hockey game, actually, in Flint, Michigan. He goes to the AHL and the minor league games, selling his books and stuff because, of course, they are about hockey. So what's great about it is we're going to be talking to this guy right here. There you go. Look at that. Stanley Cup. And this ain't the Stanley Cup that everybody's fighting over in Target. That's the legit Stanley Cup. The only Stanley Cup, not that coffee holding cup that people are knocking themselves out for. So we're going to be talking to him in a minute here. But I want to just say, like, wow, so much stuff that we're going to be talking about in this season. I have a bunch of people who've seen the episodes I've done the previous season a couple of years ago who want to be guests this year. I've been able to wrangle up a couple of more guests. So stay tuned. I think I'm going to stick to this time slot. I'm liking the Friday at 9 o'clock. And if I'm on the road, I'm going to stick to it there. I'll do it from the road as well. I think it's a good time. We're bracing for some weather here in the Northeast. I'm north of New York City, so I'm going to see about probably 6 to 12 inches of snow, but we'll see. But you know what? I'm not going to keep people waiting much longer. I'm going to first bring on the owner, the writer, the publisher of Mess Bucket Comics. You can go to messbucketcomics.com for his stuff, where you can get books like this, the Donnybrook series that I'm a part of. I'm the owner of the New York team, the Hell's Kitchen Heathens. That's right. We got jerseys and everything, but also the Arcane Awakening series as well, which we did a motion comic this past couple of years. It just came out this year. We'll talk about that as well. So let me bring out, without further ado, the one, the only Dominic Riggio.
Hey,
What's
Brian.
going on, brother?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Not at all. You are actually, where are you watching this hockey game?
I am at the Flint Firebirds game. It's in the third period. They just scored. They're up 2-1. They're playing the Peterborough Petes in the OHL Ontario Hockey League game. There's been 3 fights in this game already. It's a hell of a game. So I go to these games set up like I do it normally at a comic convention on the concourse, and I sell Donnybrook and stuff like that, and I found it to be just great. I'm going right to the source with hockey fans selling Donnybrook and the jerseys like that you're wearing, and it's been great. I love going to these minor hockey games, talking to the fans, and they can't believe there's a hockey comic. It's a great experience for me.
Yeah, I got to say, I enjoy it when I see you at the Comic Cons, because obviously you're a comic book publisher and you're putting out comics. But I can imagine a comic about hockey, very much geared towards hockey. You sell tons of these jerseys as well when you're at the events, especially at the hockey arenas. How does that do for you, the actual jerseys and the books there?
They do really well. I was hesitant at first. I didn't know if hockey fans were going to buy jerseys from an independent comic book that they had never heard of before, but hockey fans are hockey fans, and they are. There's a overlap of fans for comics and hockey, especially the View Askew Kevin Smith universe. I bring up Brian O'HalloRANT, and they're like, "No way!" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is Brian O'HalloRANT's team." And they flip it on the back. They see the number 37, and they're like, "All right, I'm convinced."
Right on.
You know, and it's done well.
You've been doing this book for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah.
And then what made you? What brought you to meet Darren McCarty, no less? You're a Michigan-based publisher, right?
Right. So I met Darren actually in 1999. At a strip club on 8 Mile in Detroit. And it was completely random, so bizarre. It's in the comic book that we're going to talk about. But I was there with some college friends, and we're just sitting there at the strip club, and 2 of my college roommates, and I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII, a very nerdy video game from back in the day. And this guy is walking by, and he stops, he sits at our table, and says, "Are you guys talking about Final Fantasy VII and breeding gold chocobos?" And we're totally caught off guard. We're like, yeah, yes we are. He goes, "How did you do that?" My roommate nudges me, and he says, "I think that's Darren McCarty, Doc." And I go, "Hey, are you Darren McCarty?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, nice to meet you guys. I'm Darren McCarty, but let's get back to breeding the gold chocobos." So we're talking. We're trying to explain it. He's trying to write it on this like bar napkin, and it's not. We're like, "Hey, let's just email it to you." He goes, "Okay, great." So later on, I had my charity event, and I'm like, "Hey, I've got this really cool idea for your life story comic book." When I went to him, I knew that he was a nerd because of that previous interaction, and I was like, "I think I got a good shot at this." Having a comic book about this guy's life, who's, like you said, a legend in the NHL, in Detroit, all across the world. And he said yes, and we've been working on this pre-COVID. So I've been working closely with Darren for at least 3.5 years on this project. I'm really excited about it.
It's a great cover, first off. I love the cover. So why don't we stop talking without him being here? Let's bring on the legend himself, the one, the only. You, if you don't know who he is, you're not a hockey fan, or you need to learn your hockey history. One and only Darren McCarty, everybody.
What's up, Brian? Good to see you, bud.
What's
Appreciate
up,
you having us
Darren?
on.
No, not at all, man. When Dominic reached out, he's like, "Hey, we're doing a GoFundMe, a Kickstarter, shall I say, to finish your graphic novel." I was like, "Absolutely, I'm in. Let's do it." And for you guys to kick off the second season of the OHalloRANT, I'm honored, sir, honored.
No, I think it's great. I think you brought it up. I think the interaction of like Dom like outed me, but most people know I'm a nerd anyways, and it came back like, isn't that but I'm that type of nerd. I'm gonna nerd out at the strip joint, so I'm gonna have both. I'm gonna have it all covered, right? So I mean, it just lets you know you can be like DMAC and love what you love, but it's like how we have got to know each other and become friends through Dom and through your love of hockey, right? And I dabble in like a little bit of stand-up comedy and do wrestling. I have a band. I think the one thing that which Dom sells himself short is I wrote a book 10 years ago called My Last Fight: True Story of a Hockey Rock Star, and to be able to not only take the book that Kevin Allen and Triumph and everybody were able to do in that vision, but Dom always known. We've been friends for 25 years. So because you know why? Because the tips that he gave me on that napkin worked. So I didn't have to, beat him down. But the thing is that I always love the Watchmen, and you see me at the Comic Cons all the time. I'm a big fan of all that stuff. So when Dom approached it and said, as we were talking, it came about when we were doing some of the stories for Donnybrook, because I have the Burnaby Blazers, the pot smoking lumberjacks from Western Canada, right? So eventually our teams will intertwine, but then we got to talking about just different stories, and I said it'd be unbelievable to be able to use all of different knowledge, and this is Dom's piece, right? Because he put the artists together, and he put, it was his sort of vision. So I look at it, and Brian, you might know, like when people, take your work or something like that, it's their vision of you. So I'm really the story, and it's sort of Dom, how he's put it all together with all the, famous people and different interactions that I've had, but he's really incorporated my love, right? My love of the different things. And that's the one thing is love what you love and just put everything passion wise into it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, here, if you're looking for viewers out there, if you're looking to go to both Dominic's comic book site, it's messbucketcomics.com, and then if you want to go to the McCartycomic.com, that link immediately will take you to the Kickstarter that you guys are looking to get 15,000, and it looks like we're getting close. You're at 9,206 as of right now. So if you go to the Kickstarter, let me see if I can get it lowered here. Hang on one second. There it is. You can see it's the Darren McCarty Life is Brand Enjoy My Truth graphic novel. If you want to donate to this project, you're going to go to McCartycomic.com. You're seeing it on the ticker there at the bottom. And that'll take you, if you want to donate, there's some really cool perks. Obviously, you'll get the book if you donate the right amount there. So by all means, please kick in if you can. That would be awesome sauce, of course. So the other thing I want to talk about with Darren, you're an advocate for many different things. You're an advocate for the legalization of marijuana to help PTSD, to help chronic fatigue, chronic pain issues. Yep, exactly. You've done a lot before it became legal in a lot of different states because of people like you, organizations that you push. How do you see the states slowly coming around to allowing, at least in the medical marijuana field, more and more acceptance of this?
Yeah, I think it's all education, Brian, and that's what we've all preached all along. I know for me, my journey, this plan has saved my life. I'm an alcoholic insomniac, and it's given me through the education of my endocannabinoid system and why things work. Not only that, but just the way that I want to proceed in life. Everybody, a lot of people have different struggles, but it's an option, and I think it's more acceptable because we understand what the truth is. You can't lie to us anymore about a lot of things. You look at the way society is. So, the one thing is I just want people to it's all education. The bottom line is once they figure out where the money's going and how to figure it out slowly but surely, then I mean the government gets there, figure out what their piece of the pie is, then we can move on. The job is that the conversations are happening now, and you see as the different states and the people in the states, the education's there. So,
Yeah.
it's not what it used to be. I
No.
think the more acceptable, and that's all isn't that all we want is the truth. No
Yeah.
matter, I mean, I could go off on so many different things,
Of
but in
course. Of
today's
course.
2024,
I did my very
we're in the year
first.
2024. So, I know with everything I've been through in life, I just want to be okay.
Yeah.
And
No, I
for
hear you.
me, this plant helps me every day. And it's like but it's through education, and you have to, educate yourself, and it's,
Yeah.
so how it may help you and how it may not, but it's just about being open to it. And I'm grateful because you see the conversations are being had. Now, just like anything else, nothing's perfect, but if people actually care about each other and have compassion for each other, then this subject,
Absolutely.
sooner than later, like
Absolutely.
you said, the question that you asked won't be a question at all.
Right. Exactly. It's funny because I went to my very first time to a 420 show, a cannabis convention, so to speak, up in Massachusetts, and it's becoming more and more accepted. Dominic, you wanted to say something, sir?
Yeah, sorry to leave it early, but I got to get back to my table. Everybody's leaving. I have to pack up, but thank you for having me on. Everybody check out McCartyComics.com. You guys keep going. Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Sorry to
Did
cut
You're
it
Flip
short.
welcome.
win?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
won?
Went 3-1.
Okay.
But I think there's gonna be some dirty stuff. Everybody's pissed off. I love
Yeah.
it.
All right. Be careful before it's a riot.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
Thank you, Dominic. We'll talk to you again.
Yeah.
That was Dominic Riggio, owner of Mess Bucket Comics. He's done amazing stuff, not only with the Donnybrook series that you see here. Where is that photo? There it is. The Donnybrook series, where both myself and Darren are fictional owners of teams in the comic book. It's got a really great stories that you would normally not hear in normal NHL conversations put into a book, a comic book that I think hockey fans will enjoy. They also did a series called Arcane Awakening. And Arcane Awakening is a 3-book series. It's kind of the devil versus God kind of thing. They also did a motion comic where we added our voices, including Darren,
I
to
got to be Ravager. I got to be the Ravager, which is
the Ravager. That's right. The main
yeah.
kind of monster in it. He did an amazing job with that. We had a world premiere screening in Detroit not that long ago. And I know that Dominic is talking about taking that as well to different Comic Cons and screening it at the Comic Cons as well. So look for Dominic at messbucketcomics.com for more information of where he's going to be appearing, not only at Comic Cons, but as you can see, he's at hockey games as well. Darren, you got into, you had mentioned this, you had got into wrestling.
Yeah.
I know you were a fan before even thinking about getting into it. And I know being at these Comic Cons where we do have wrestlers come and sign autographs and do meet and greets with the fans, who finally said, hey, let's bring you into this?
Well, actually, the highlight of my whole 2023 was I was on the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view, and I got to stun Bully Ray Dudley and put him through a table. And being a
Nice.
big fan of the Dudley boys growing up, that was cool. Now, in saying that, along my travels, I did get put through a table on the outside by Devon Dudley and break 4 ribs this summer.
Ooh.
So rubbing ain't racing. To answer
Ooh.
your question, honestly, I've always been around and always loved it and stuff, but through the lockout or the lockout through COVID, it felt
Right.
like a lockout.
Yeah.
Through COVID, I really got into deathmatch wrestling because I got educated on how to watch it, and that's the ones with all the glass and the tables and stuff like
Right.
this. And why I liked it is because I played a sport that you legitimately fought each other and tried to beat the living crap out of the other person in a win-lose situation, where this case is I want you to believe that I want to kill this guy with weapons I know that that I could kill this guy with, and then make it a great show with everything else. And then at the end of the day, in the back, everybody's giving hugs because the fan was entertained. So that brought me on it. What also too is, I don't know if you know this or not, but my son, and I say my son lightly because I can't talk about it. There's still a 23andMe lawsuit out there because during COVID, he showed up. His name's Tommy Vendetta, the lovable psychopath. And we figured out that because he's a lovable psychopath, because I'm his lovable psycho dad. So I've been following him around the country for the past 3 years, and we've actually added his brother Malcolm Monroe the third MM3 the process. So I got my own version of the Dudley Boys, who own the H2O East Coast tag team belts that will be defending in New Jersey next weekend. So we've been busy. I'm actually heading to the UK with the ICW Deathmatch in February, so I'm excited about that. So
Where in New
I
Jersey?
get involved, like I don't want to do it, but I will. And if it plays to the story, I'm willing to bleed or take a bump. And I've been skewered and gusseted, and like I said, I broke 4 ribs. Mama
Oof.
wasn't happy, but
Where are you going to
some of us
be in New
grow
Jersey
apart.
next week?
What's that?
Where are you going to be in New Jersey next
We
week?
will be in Williamstown, New Jersey, at the H2O Center.
There you go,
So
people.
yeah, absolutely. The H2O. So
What day is that
the
on?
it's on, so it's actually IWTV, which has all the independents across the world, which is unbelievable. So yeah, we're doing that. We're doing ICW back there again uh
Nice.
at the end of the month. So I traveled to the east. I was in Boston for Festival over New Year's and stuff. So I've on that track, but I love it, man. It's so people ask me why don't I coach hockey and stuff like this. Well, I got a lot more love. What that's what I did. It's not who I am, but I
Right.
love following the passion of some of these young guys, especially from Michigan, and being able to maybe help afford them the opportunity for them to pull themselves through the doors. So
Absolutely. Speaking of young men, what about the USA team? The
yeah, awesome.
juniors.
You know what the best part of that is that the goaltender for the U.S., Trey Augustine from Michigan State, is our second rounder from last year. So he
Isn't
might
that
be
great?
one of these kids in the future for the Wings. So I always like to see that.
That would be great. What do you think? We're almost at the halfway point of the season. What's your assessment of the NHL so far?
Yeah, you know what? It's sure as heck is you'd rather be in the West than the East because it's so tight. I know here in Detroit, it'd be nip and tuck. You just can't lose 3, 4 games in a row in this league. It's so close. I mean, you look at when Tampa Bay's battling down, for a wild card, that it's tough sledding. So it's entertaining, it's exciting, but with Detroit, we can score goals. I love the fact we added DeBrincat, now Patrick Kane, but we got to
Right.
find a way to keep them out. So
Yeah.
we got some work to do, but I believe in the process. So we're still 2 or 3 years away from actually being a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah, but you're getting there. I mean, that's how the Rangers were when as everybody knows, I'm a big New York Rangers fan. That's what it took us to get to where we are. It's funny because you're right. The teams are so close. The parity of teams now that I see more 3-point games at the end of the night than anything, where someone has gone into overtime and it's either ended in overtime directly in the 5 minutes or a shootout. And so the points are still getting up there. You really can't pull away like you used to back in the day. It's
No,
definitely a different game.
it's a different when you're trying to figure out the math and stuff like this. Like all you know is if it's an East team playing a West team, you don't care if they get the point, right?
Right.
Because you're not.
Right.
But anything in the East, you want that game to finish.
Absolutely. And it's also a different game in the sense it's a lot faster today.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the guys are bigger, faster. But it's a year round, right? It's a year
Right.
round as opposed to when I was growing up. My first year was 1993. I mean, I grew up in the late 70s and 80s playing baseball in the summer, hockey in the winter. Now these guys play all year round, one sport. You know, all the best in the game have played together if they're from the same area since they've been like 12. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're
It's like
getting
everything else.
private. Yeah, they're
It's
getting
evolved.
private coaches, strengthening coaches, coaches that are just about passing, coaches that are just about your skating alone, so it's good to see that they're excelling. I worry that they'll get burnt out quicker, being that they're doing it that long. It's like whenever I see any of the baseball teams in the winter playing winter baseball and these guys are getting injured, ruining their professional career, that always gets me nervous. Like, what are you doing? I get it. You want to constantly stay in shape, but at the same time, there's a need for rest.
No, I and agree. And look at like, you can't play the same role or write the same comedy back to back to back to back, can you? Like you
No,
couldn't film Clerks 1, 2, 3, or do whatever else like right in a row, could you? Don't
no,
you have
you
to?
need you need to experience life and get new ideas and same thing. I think with a player, with a professional athlete, especially, you're working hard so that you can enjoy yourself at the game, yes, but you need to work hard to enjoy yourself with their families, with your friends, and look back and then plan for the next season. That's the good thing about some hockey players. They will take that break and go for a month somewhere or go back home to Sweden or Finland or wherever they're going to come from, just to relax. Some of these guys are so running the candle at both ends. It's hard to see them last an entire season because once it gets to the second season, as we like to call the playoffs, the level of intensity is 20 times more. You're getting hits left and right. Dudes who would never be hit are all of a sudden hitting. Guys are skating 1,000 miles an hour and just throwing themselves against other bodies. While you wouldn't do that in games 1 to 20, once it gets to games 70 to 82, you start seeing everything ramping up as people fight for the wild card and the positions to get into these playoffs.
No, 100%. Playoffs is a different beast too, and a lot you have to ask with like playing the one sport, not only mentally but physically, right?
Right.
For playing so much hockey. So, but again, nutrition is better. Yeah,
Yep.
everything else around the game to set them up for success is better. So, you gotta. Everything in sports is copycat. What do championship teams, what did they do for success? And usually like people looking, try to mix in what they do. And usually like the biggest thing is nutrition.
Yeah.
And diet and all that stuff is so like, I mean, they wear heart monitors in practice. And, I mean, just to go, I laugh all the time when I see somebody on the bench with one of those iPads going through a play. Dude, those things would have been broke so many times by guys being so mad. And I'm talking about the best guys. Steve Eiserman, no way. Look at that.
Well, I mean, there was a very famous part in the play in I think the last season where Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad wanted to look at the tablet, and Chris Kreider grabbed it and threw it away from him. Like, don't worry about that. We're moving on to the next shift. It's a different game,
exactly.
with analytics and the whole analytics department now, and guys, teaching players goalies' tendencies or what percentage they're going to shoot from what part of the ice, what kind of shot they'd prefer to take. what kind of move they're going to make if they get a breakaway, that kind of thing. Who's going to hit you at what part of the ice? I mean, there is so much now broken into analytics, and it's not just the NHL, of course. It's in all of the sports, especially baseball and football. But it's in the end, it's still the player versus another player, and it's their talent and their gut feeling of what they should do.
Well, I mean, like hockey moves so quick. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the best game live. If you've never seen a game live, then you haven't experienced it, because it's the atmosphere, it's everything else. And like you said, it moves so quick. So you can prepare as much as you want, but
Right.
knowing it, like you have to know what you're doing before you even do it.
Folks, for those just joining us, we're here with 4-time NHL Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, one of the kings of the Detroit Red Wings. You can't say Detroit Red Wings and get to 4 players before you even get to him. You're not even going to go that far without mentioning his name. That's how much he is a part of the Red Wings, how much the Red Wings are a part of him. We're talking about his upcoming graphic novel that's going to be done here. A graphic novel being done by Mess Bucket Comics. And if you see the top there, it's a Kickstarter. If you go to McCartyComic.com, they're doing his life story as a graphic novel. They're up to 9,274. Look at that. We've had some people donate since we've been talking. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. There's 9 days to go to back the printing of this book. It's going to be awesome. I know for a fact, because talking to Darren all the years I've known him and the stories that he's told me just in the short few times I got to hang out with him, you're going to want to see, not only hear the stories in the graphic novel, but see some of the stories drawn out by some of the great artists that the Mess Bucket crew up in Michigan can put together. So once again, if you go to messbucketcomics.com, you'll find some other great comics like the great hockey books Donnybrook. You also, there you go, there's book 1 and book 2. I think they're up to book 5 now. They also sell hockey jerseys. That's me and my team, the Hell's Kitchen Heathens. This is me and Darren and his Barnaby Blazers. Me and my Hell's Kitchens. That was a couple of years ago at Astronomicon. Fun time that was. But these are the type of things we like to do. Go to McCarthyComic.com. See if you can add some money to that great Kickstarter. I want to see this book printed. I'd love to see everybody get a hold of it. Dominic was on earlier. He was at a Flint, Michigan game, and so that just ended. So he's packing up his booth and he's heading home, and he'll probably be watching this on the ride home. Darren, I want to thank you. I got one thing that I do with every guest before we go here. I do what's called the speed round questions. Speed round questions. It's a Q&A kind of a thing. You're going to it's just 2 choices, A or B. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, hang on, let me get you as a solo there. There you go. We're going to do a speed round. I'm going to throw some music on this here real quick. Hang on. There we go. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, here we go. Speed round questions. Number 1, Miracle or Slapshot movie?
Slapshot.
Pilsner or IPA?
Pilsner.
Detroit or Canada?
Detroit.
Long flight or long drive?
Long drive.
Pork or beef?
Beef.
5 minutes or Instigator?
5 minutes.
Highway or side streets?
Highway.
Indoor or outdoor rink?
Outdoor rink.
Booth or table?
Booth.
Wrist or slap shot?
Wrist.
Little Caesars or the Joe?
The Joe.
Buying or selling?
Buying.
Shoot or pass?
Shoot.
Love or money?
Love.
Pre-roll or bong?
Pre-roll.
Street or ice?
Ice.
Shanahan or Yzerman?
Ooh, Shanahan.
There you go.
Suck
Jay?
it, baby.
Jay or Silent Bob?
Jay.
Favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Biggest pet peeve?
Punctuality.
Punctuality. I like your style.
Thank you.
Folks, that was the speed round with the great Stanley Cup champion, the one, the only Darren McCarty. Darren, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I want to thank you for being a part of my life, and I've been able to meet and hang with you quite a few times. It's been a lot of fun. We've actually been in a movie together, technically.
I'm honored, Bri. It's always and when Dominic brought up the fact that we always say, you know what, like to be involved with you in different things, it's the person you are. It's just great to call you a friend and be able to support different things. I hope I'll see you soon down the road, if not Astronomicon.
Yeah.
At the latest. So I think it's really cool, at least from my perspective, to have some different events that go on in my city that I can count on seeing people like yourself that I look forward to catching up with at least once a year, if not
Right
more,
on.
if we're lucky.
Well, good luck with your match in New Jersey next week. Good luck. You said you're going to England, I think is the next one.
Yeah, we're going to England middle of February.
There you go. Going to England in the middle of February. If you want to catch up to what he's up to, he is Darren McCarty, number 4 on Twitter. You can also find him on Instagram as well. Otherwise, go to McCartyComic.com. Try to add to this wonderful graphic novel that's coming out. We want to make sure that we get these guys the funding to get the publishing. They're at 92 now. They need 15. I think we can do that. We have 9 days to go. If you can't do it yourself, please pass it on to friends who might be interested in donating. McCartyComic.com for more of that information. And once again, thank you, Darren, so much. Everybody give a round of applause, Mr. Darren McCarty. We will see you again very much. You have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the season of hockey. I'm sure I'll see you in Detroit sometime in 2024.
Happy New Year. Thank you to everybody out there. Appreciate it.
Happy New Year to you too. Take care, brother.
See you, bud.
Wow, I got to say, that was really awesome. For him to launch season 2, I'm always loving the fact that people like him who are really awesome, like I mean super duper awesome with the fans, come out and love other things. Like he said, he's a nerd as well. He's the one who's into so many things. He was into Pokemon and all this other stuff. And yet he's a bruiser. He's known for like the most famous clips. You go on YouTube and type in Darren McCarty, you're going to see more clips of him taking people out and fighting than you will see him scoring goals. That was the game back then. But that's not to diminish his role in 4 Stanley Cup champion teams. So I'm going to go, we're going to do some, what do we got here? Let's try some audience Q&A kind of stuff. Let's see what we got going on. I'm going to go to the comments here. So we got Upper Aces. I'm so excited for the comic. Yes, I am too. I look forward to having it. He's also saying, have a great night to Darren. He is a very nice guy. Super cool. Very awesome opening. Yes, very down to earth. Christopher says maybe a Kickstarter for the OHalloRANT merch. Yes, I'm working on more OHalloRANT merch. And yes, the Wilkinienthal, you're right. McCarty versus Lemieux. That's all you got to say. People bring that up all the time when it comes to him. Hey, Gem Girl 1975. Yes, I'm back. Good to see you again as well. It's good to be back as well. Are we coming back to the Washington SummerCon in Portland this year? I would love to. That's up to them. the folks at the Washington Summer Con, really great people to work with. We were supposed to do the Portland Fan Expo, but that's when the Omicron variant really was gangbusters and they canceled the entire show. So hopefully the Fan Expo people will have us back this year at some point, because technically October of this year is technically the 30th anniversary of the release of Clerks. What does this next one say? I'm definitely going to try to read it when I can. Sounds cool. Yes, Aiden, if you want to contribute and you can get yourself a copy before anyone else, by all means, go to McCartyComic.com. So many things has gone on with the filming of Clerks 3. We had so much fun shooting it in New Jersey at the original Quick Stop. We were under COVID protocol, so there was a lot of all mask wearing at the time back then. Also, that was in 2022. Also, we had a COVID advisor and HEPA filters running at all times and different zones that people could be in. They told us we would film from Monday through Friday, and they told us that we couldn't or we shouldn't interact with the general public when we weren't filming, because we don't know who we're going to meet and then bring something back to the set and that type of thing. So it was always tough when the 5 weeks that we were filming to not go out and want to be like doing dinners or me going out to do stand up, things like that. And it was that type of thing that always made sure that we had to get the films done. And thankfully, the entire time, the crew of, I think, like 75 or 85 people, only one person caught symptoms, and that was one of the people who was like a runner for things, who was always interacting with the public, who never came to set technically. But otherwise, everybody else made it really, really, really easy. Christopher Hewitt, thank you for the shows helped you through the pandemic. Why, thank you. I'm glad it helped me as well. Needing to want to entertain people, so to speak, it helped me get through it as well. I had been saying I'd been wanting to do a podcast, Streamcast, for a long time. And then when the lockdown happened, I had no excuse. At that point, I'm like, what else am I going to do? I already had the equipment and everything. It literally was sitting in the original boxes in my closet. So I broke it all out, and here we are today. Going to be having a lot of really cool friends and guests lined up for this season. So I look forward to having more and more people. And the Clerks trilogy is probably the best 3 movies ever made. Such a great to watch. Why, thank you. We appreciate that. I know Kevin always wanted to make the Jersey trilogy, and some people always thought it was like the Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. But it's nice to have an actual trilogy for the Clerks. We'll see where we go from there. I know Kevin made some news a couple of days ago last week about a new Jay and Silent Bob being made. So hopefully I can be a part of that as well. Daniel Buckley, I've had the magnet on my computer case for years. That is true. The logo for my show, the long logo, which is this one right here, I made into some magnets not that long ago. And I gave one to my good friend there, Daniel, and he said he's been sitting on his refrigerator ever since. That's about right. That's about me. That's for sure. So hopefully we're going to get some more swag. I've been in touch with a couple of vendors on different things. Oh, look at this. Rob Acampora himself. He's the host of the hugely successful The A Game with Rob Acampora. I was just, I believe, on his 100th episode not that long ago, a couple of months back, where he tapes it from, or he records it live from the wonderful Ming's studio there. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. What's the name of the studio again? But anyway, Darren's 96-97 was, I think, his best scoring year, winning cup, and what would be the winning goal in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup. Yes, you are right. You are absolutely right on that one. Absolutely. And thank you, sir. It's good to be back. I'm glad to be in front of the camera and talk and get some great guests. We'll have some more, like I said, next week. I'm going to try to line up something as well. But if not, I'll try to move dates around. You never know. You never know. I hope Kevin can save his hometown theater. Well, it's not needing saving. He owns it with 4 other partners. And what they do is he's doing his auction, his smauction this Saturday. If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, or if you don't mind taking a drive, this Saturday night at his theater is his live auction. He's bringing out some crazy stuff from movie used props, clothing, different things that he's going to be auctioning off. You're going to want to get there. I believe it starts at 7. And then I think there's a Zach and Miri screening as well. So get your tickets. I know January 20th, they're doing another Clerks All Night thing where they're showing all 3 Clerks movies from the first, the second, and third, from beginning to end, with some Q&As in between all 3 of them. I have not been asked to be a part of it as of yet. We'll see what happens as it gets closer. If Kevin wants to reach out, that's up to them. But yes, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is the smauction from I believe what Daniel is telling me here. Shared Universe. That's right. Thank you, Zach. Shared Universe is where the great A Game with Rob Akinpor is recorded, plus a lot of other great podcasts are done from there. The Zach and Miri porno is the 15th. Thank you. Anniversary at 6. There you go. Daniel is on top of it. Thank you, Daniel, for keeping me all straight with the times and whatnot. Christopher, Clerks 3 is the first that I ever cried. If I was in Dante's shoes, I would do the same. Yes. It's Clerks 3 is definitely a bit of a tearjerker. It's more of a heartfelt kind of thing. So you definitely want to be prepared. If you've been following the Dante, Randall, Jay, and Silent Bob, and Trevor, and now we have the who plays Elias, and then we have some new characters along with this trip. Clerks 3 is a fun ride. Absolutely. Let's see here. What do we got? We missed you on the C3 tour. I went to, out of the 48 cities, I went to 12 of them with Kevin. So I didn't get to all of them. I went to some really good stuff. I'm being asked, are you excited for the Cruise Askew? I am. We have the Cruise Askew, which is a Norwegian cruise liner, the Norwegian Pearl to be exact, is be hosting the Jay and Silent Bob Cruise Askew. It's sailing from Miami to Nassau, Bahamas, February 23rd through the 26th. You can go to cruiseaskew.com. I myself will be holding a pub crawl, sold out pretty quickly. And by sold out, I mean they only have a limited number of people who can do it. Space to have people that they wrote to my agent to ask, hey, can Brian do a second pub crawl during the whole thing? And I was like, not on the same day. I won't. But we're going to have a pub crawl. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to do a reading of the original Clerks 3 script, which was a much darker script that was written about 10 years ago. So we're going to have a reading of that. We're going to also have a Mallrats script reading. There's going to be tons of podcasts. I'm going to be able to do this show, the OHalloRANT, in front of a live audience on the ship. We have Comic-Con Theater, Edumacation, Pub Quiz. We also have Black Man Beyond, Truth or Date, The Ralph Report with Ralph Garman, Mark Bernard and Splinter, a comedy writing seminar, +1 with Kevin's wife, Jen, Hollywood Babylon with Ralph and Kevin, Fat Man Beyond with, of course, Mark Bernard and Kevin, and then the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, and Edumacation with Andy and Kevin. Tons and tons of stuff. You can go to cruiseaskew.com to find out more. One of the other things, you've made it when they've done this to you, when there's something made in your image, and I'm talking about this right here, the Clerks Funko Pops. This is the Clerks 3 Funko Pops. It's so funny because Christopher just said, how does it feel to have your own Funko Pop? Well, it's about goddamn time. That's all I got to say. So it's myself, Dante, Randall, Elias. Then we also have Jay and Silent Bob. I personally think that they need to do more of them. I got my one right here. I will be when you see me at some of these cons, I will be bringing a bunch of them to have signed there. It's kind of epic, kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. But I've had them over the years where people have made custom ones. There's a custom movies one, as you can see, I'm pointing to over here, where people like 3D print it and do it themselves. So I think if Funko is smart, they would do a black and white version of the original Clerks character of Dante, Randall, Jay, Silent Bob, and Veronica, by that matter. And why not do Chuli's Gum Guy and whoever else? But also, I think we could do then the movies version. This is just like I said, this is a custom made by a fan. Let's see if I can get the glare off. See, there you go. It's got like the purple smock on, that kind of thing. And it's cool. It's super cool when it's super cool when fans can do stuff like that, and are very generous. Here's another one. This is before the actual Funkos. Someone 3D printed one in the movies, kind of smock. Those the beautiful blue eyes. Mine are greenish hazel, but it is what it is. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff. So I that's what I would say. I'd say let's definitely, yeah. Funko Dante looks so serious. He does, doesn't he? He's like, why am I in this box? That kind of a thing. But it would be cool. I think it would be great. There should be a chase in black and white. Yes, there should be something in black and white. Movies, video game for phones would be cool. Serving the people, cooking, etc. Yeah, like Tapper back in the day, if you remember that one. What would you like in a Dante chase? I don't know what a chase is, but we'll see. Would you ever come to a con called Too Many Games? It's a video game con, but it's tons of other popular media. I've done a gaming con in Philadelphia called Gamer X, and I did another one up in Boston, the gaming convention up in Boston. This is about probably 8-9 years ago. So I'm very familiar. As a matter of fact, it was the year that the game Dante's Inferno came out, because I remember the big giant booth that sold the game Dante's Inferno, and myself and Marilyn Gigliotti were at the convention as media guests. And I remember the makers of the game gave me like the game itself, but also they gave me they also gave me the action figure of the game. So it was very cool of them to do that. So yes, I've done gaming conventions, like video game conventions. As a matter of fact, I'm looking to get I'm having another computer rig built for me. I do mostly my gaming through PCs, in case people are wondering. I don't have time to keep up with all the consoles and stuff, so I just I'll go to another friend's house who has either the Xbox, or if it's a PlayStation exclusive type of game, I'll go there and play at their house. But otherwise, yeah, I'm a PC gamer more than anything. So yes, I would definitely would love to go to a gaming convention. It's a special Funko Pop, different from the original. Oh, okay. All right. Like the sodas, the soda pops, things like that. Would you ever do a gaming stream for the OHalloRANT? I did. If you go back, I've done, not for the OHalloRANT. I would go on just my Twitch channel. which my Twitch channel is Brian C. O'HalloRANT. Let me see if I can bring that up. Yeah, here you go. If you see that at the bottom, the Facebook one obviously is the OHalloRANT. YouTube is the OHalloRANT, and then Twitch TV Brian C. O'HalloRANT. And what I've done there is, I've what's going on here? There we go. I've played different games online, like when Among Us was very popular. People were streaming Among Us. And I've also played from time to time, probably I can count on my one hand the few times I played Fortnite with Jay. I've played with Jay Muse. Jay Muse, I've also played Among Us with him and his circle of friends. So there has been a lot of that's a lot of fun. I need to upgrade my rig, and so I'm in the process of talking with this computer manufacturer about having a custom rig made, which I'm hoping to do a show of and then make them a sponsor of the show, so that, you know, I can show, hey, if you like streaming and you like gaming and you want something that doesn't have lag and whatnot, you want such and such brand computer. So hopefully I'll get that done in the next month or so. The same thing with merchandise. I'm looking to get some merchandise made and get that done. But yes, it'll be a lot of fun to definitely do some gaming streams. I definitely miss the gaming streams. Would love to see them again sometimes. Yes, they were a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, my schedule became incredibly busy, making Clerks 3, then going to conventions, promoting Clerks 3. And then when it came out last year, not by last year, but I mean the year before now, 2022, post release of the movie, people wanting us to be signing their copies of Clerks 3 and their copies of the posters and the swag and stuff like that. And now they're obviously going to have us go out and want to sign these. If you go to jayandsilentbobonline.com, they have signed Dante's and Jay and Silent Bob's, and I think Elias's for sale. If you go to their website, if you go to the Secret Stash, they have them unsigned. I think the only ones they have signed are Jay and Silent Bob. So you can go to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.com as well to find them there. Or I'm sure your great comic book toy store may have them in order as well. I know Tall Man Comics in Knoxville, Tennessee has a whole bunch of them there that he's having me come down and sign at some point. But it was like, dude, you getting Adele? No, I'm not getting Adele. I'll tell you that much. I'm getting something else, but you're quoting that commercial, Daniel. Very funny. What do we got here? What are your specs like right now? The specs right now are nothing. What I'd like to have. The specs I'm going to be going for, like, I want an Intel board. I want an Intel chip. I want an NVIDIA video card. I want to do at minimum 32 of RAM, maybe 64. I already do a multi-screen setup. So I'm going to need something that can handle a multi-screen setup, so I can do my streaming and everything without any lag. My internet is already, the highest I can get. So I'm happy with that. It's not fiber optic, but it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. We have a happy late birthday and a merry new year. What have you been up to lately? Hosted a couple of parties, I think. Went to a couple of parties. Had some friends over and my family over for New Year's Eve, so that was fun. It was good times. So now the work begins. Now we're getting ready. I'll be going to AlaskaCon, which is my next convention. AlaskaCon. If you go to AlaskaCon or Alaska Comic Con, and by Comic Con it's COMICO and then ON, so Comic-Con. Alaska Comic Con is the beginning of February. I'll be doing that. And then the end of February. So it's the 3rd and the 4th, I believe. Let me see if I can bring it up here. There it is. Yeah, Alaska Comic Con. There we go. There you go. February 3rd and the 4th. So we got some really great people going to that. We have Michael Rosenbaum, Tom Welling. We have the great Larry Hama, Sean Waltman going to that, Karen Ashley. We have, of course, Dan Parent is going to be there. Christopher Irving, comic book historian. I've known him for many years. He is a genius. And so, yeah. So if you go to Alaska Comic Con, COMICON.com, if you want to come up to Fairbanks in February, pack a good coat, pack a good glove. It's Emily from Cleveland, Ohio. I know you probably didn't remember, but I met you at the Denver Expo or at the Expo in Cleveland, Ohio, almost 2 years back. I was excited that you were very nice to me. Well, I'm very nice to everybody. Thank you. Good to see you again. Thank you for following the show, catching the show. I appreciate that. It's good to be seen. But yes, if you want to follow where I am and what I'm up to, this is the address you want to go. Go to my LinkTree. That's the best way to do it. You can find it on my Twitter and my my Facebook page. You could also find it on my Instagram account. But if you want to go to that address, LinkTree/Brian C. O'HalloRANT, that'll give you the links to everything I'm doing, my schedule that is confirmed to that point. And it's a link to everything that I do. And you'll get links to the Alaska Con, the cruise, and whatnot. So there you have it. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me for season 2. Season 2 of the OHalloRANT. I got to say, it's been a lot of fun doing this again, being a part of, Friday nights at 9 o'clock, having some cool guests. I once again want to thank the one, the only great Dominic Riggio from Mess Bucket Comics, and also the 4-time Stanley Cup champion from the Detroit Red Wings, the one, the only Darren McCarty. Go to McCartyComic.com. You're going to want to find that Kickstarter to get his life story published as a graphic novel. I know all the artists and the writers that are involved in it. The fine folks at Mess Bucket always do a great job. If you want to find me, you can find me here on Facebook, the OHalloRANT, YouTube, the OHalloRANT, and on Twitch TV, Brian C. O'Halloran. I want to give a big shout out to everybody. Christopher Hewitt, my #1 fan. Litterbox Toast, good to see you as all. Wookie Inthal, good to see you. Millennium, good to see you as well. And Aiden Griffith, good to see you. Upper Ace, thank you for joining us. M&M Basis, I love you. There you go. You guys have been great. Daniel Buckley, thank you so much for being a part of the night, keeping me on track with dates and times. The great Rob Akampora, A Game with Rob Akampora. Go check out his show. He's up to 100 and something episodes. I think I'm up to like 33 now, 34, if I was to count them all in a row. But this is episode 1, season 2. Took almost as long as Andor is taking to make a season 2. And but I'm very much low budget than that. So in the meantime, stay good to each other, stay friendly with each other, and by all means, be kind to everyone. Please be kind to everyone this day and age. We need it. Peace.